You leave the conversation. Everything seemed normal, but hours later, your brain replays it. That one sentence, that one pause, that one look on their face. You start wondering if you said something wrong, if you sounded awkward, if they noticed something you didn't mean to show. And suddenly, a simple conversation feels like a mistake you can't undo. You don't know why your brain does this, but it keeps happening. And it's not random. It usually begins quietly. You're brushing your teeth, or lying in bed, or doing something completely unrelated. And then the memory appears, not as a full scene, but as fragments. Your voice, their reaction, the silence that followed. Your brain isolates the smallest details. You start analyzing your tone, your facial expression, the exact words you chose. You imagine alternative versions, what you should have said, what would have sounded better. And the strange part is, you weren't even thinking about it before. But now, it feels important, urgent, like your brain is trying to fix something that already happened. Over time, this changes how you see yourself. You become more cautious, more filtered. You rehearse conversations in advance. You edit yourself while speaking, not because you want to, but because you don't trust what happens when you don't. This slowly creates distance between who you are and how you express yourself. You become both the speaker and the observer, participating and monitoring at the same time. Psychology has a name for this pattern. It's called post-event processing, and it's deeply connected to how your brain protects your social survival. But to understand why it happens, you need to understand what your brain is actually afraid of. This isn't happening because you're weak, and it's not happening because you're broken. It's happening because your brain learned that social mistakes have consequences. Not always dramatic consequences. Sometimes subtle ones. A change in tone, a delayed reply, a shift in someone's energy. Your brain remembers those moments, and it adapts. Because from the brain's perspective, social belonging isn't optional. It's survival. For most of human history, being excluded from the group meant danger. Isolation meant vulnerability. So your brain evolved systems designed to prevent social rejection before it happens, even if that means replaying the past, even if that means overanalyzing harmless interactions. Because your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect your place in the social world. But the way it does this is surprisingly mechanical. And once you see the mechanism, everything starts to make sense. Your brain has something called a prediction system. Its job is to reduce uncertainty. It constantly asks one question: am I safe or at risk? Not just physically, socially. After every social interaction, your brain reviews what happened. It compares your behavior to past experiences. It looks for mismatches, moments where something felt slightly off. This process happens inside a network called the default mode network. Think of it like a surveillance camera system, but instead of watching the outside world, it watches you, reviewing footage, looking for potential threats, even small ones. Because the brain doesn't measure threat objectively, it measures uncertainty, and uncertainty creates tension. So your brain replays the conversation, trying to resolve that tension, trying to answer questions that don't have clear answers. Did they think you sounded weird? Did you say too much? Did you reveal something unintentionally? This process is also reinforced by error monitoring, controlled by a brain region called the anterior cingulate cortex. Its job is to detect mistakes, but it doesn't distinguish well between real mistakes and imagined ones. So it flags possibilities, and your brain tries to solve them, even when there's nothing to solve. The result is rumination. Not because your brain enjoys it, but because it's trying to complete an unfinished loop, trying to restore certainty. But there's a hidden paradox here. The more your brain replays the conversation,
the less certain you actually feel. And that's where the real shift begins. You don't stop this pattern by forcing your brain to be quiet. You change your relationship to the loop itself. Step 1. Label the process, not the content. When the replay starts, don't engage with the details. Instead, name the process. This is my brain trying to resolve uncertainty. This works because of a principle called cognitive diffusion. When you label the process, you activate the prefrontal cortex. This reduces emotional intensity. Instead of thinking, I sounded stupid, you think, my brain is reviewing for social safety. This creates distance, not suppression, but perspective. And perspective weakens the loop. Step 2. Interrupt the prediction cycle with physical grounding. Rumination lives in abstract thought. To break the simulation, you shift attention into physical sensation. Touch something cold. Wash your hands. Feel your feet on the ground. Your brain cannot fully simulate and fully sense at the same time. Step 3. Allow uncertainty to exist without solving it. Your brain wants closure, but most social interactions don't provide perfect feedback. Instead of asking, did they think I was awkward? You accept, I may never know. This feels uncomfortable at first, but it teaches your brain that uncertainty is survivable. And when uncertainty feels survivable, the loop loses urgency. Step 4. Reduce self-monitoring during conversations. Instead of thinking, how do I sound right now? You think, what are they actually saying? This reduces the mental recording process, and what isn't heavily recorded doesn't replay as strongly later. Your brain isn't replaying the conversation to punish you, it's replaying it to protect you. But the brain doesn't know when its job is finished. It only knows when uncertainty feels resolved. And paradoxically, resolution doesn't come from analyzing more. It comes from needing to analyze less. From teaching your brain that uncertainty is not danger, that nothing needs to be fixed, that you are still safe even without perfect certainty. There was never anything wrong with you. Your brain was doing what it was designed to do, protecting your place in the world. But you are not the surveillance system. You are the one being watched. And slowly, gently, you can teach it to relax. Not by force, not by control, but by showing it that you are still here, still accepted, still safe, even when nothing is certain. And maybe the real shift begins the moment you stop trying to correct the past and allow yourself to exist without reviewing it.